Hey everyone, Corey Swargos here for Slap News, and I have Donovan Cross here with me today. How you doing today, my man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good, thank you. I wanted to know what brought you to Power Slap in the first place and getting into the slap fighting game.
Um, you know, there was that little um thing on some of the fight pages talking about new combat sports. So got in touch and they asked us, to come out and try it. So, that's what I did. I'm always trying to try new sports, trying to do new things.
Awesome, man. Well, I see you have a background in MMA, Muay Thai, boxing. Even see you did some BJJ tournament actually recently, and you placed in that.
Yes,
How
sir.
did your background in all those different martial arts help prepare you for slap fighting?
I think it gave me an advantage because I'm used to being on a stage in front of, quite a few people. I'm used to competing. I've won a bunch. I've lost a couple, so I wasn't worried about losing. Um, and everyone gets jitters. I think having those fights in my background helped out quite a bit to prevent as much of that.
Awesome, awesome. So your experience overall with Power Slap from the time that they booked you your flight to arriving there, um, what did you think, and what was your first reaction when you seen the production size and quality and what they were doing for you fighters?
I was baffled. I wasn't expecting anything like that. I was expecting, some kind of little tournament and,
Mhm.
try it out, see if I liked it. And it ended up being for, some would say the most important people in the fight game. So it was a big surprise.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about your bout that you had with Jesse Nutting. What did you think of Jesse going in, and were you able to size them up before the actual match itself?
Um, you know, he reminded me of myself quite a bit, so I knew it was going to be a hard fight. Um, Obviously, I went in there knowing and thinking I was going to win. So
Mhm.
if you have any doubts, I think you lose right there already.
Absolutely. And then you squared up with AJ Hints as well.
Yes,
What do
sir.
you have? What do you have to say about that guy?
That's a cool dude. One of
Yeah.
the best people I met. He's a tough fucker, and he's always ready to get down.
Yeah, I mean he's rised his way to the top. Should be in line here for a title shot coming up at the main event, which I think will be great for him to see. But did you have an unfortunate accident or incident that kept you from being in the actual house itself?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, it was about 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave for the house. I had this kind of a little seizure thing due to my heart not pumping enough blood to my brain in that instance for whatever reason. So we tried to get cleared in those 2 weeks before I was flown out, but all the tests were just very time consuming. I don't think I got cleared until December 29th.
Oh, crazy. So by that point, I guess the house was all wrapped up. But so what does the you one, can you get medically cleared, and two, are you still under contract with Power Slap?
I'm cleared, and yes, I am under contract.
Awesome, awesome. Well, so what does the day in the life look like for you in regards to your Power Slap training?
I do all my normal MMA training. I still fight, still compete. Like you said, I just did that
Mhm.
Naga tournament 2 weeks ago or so, and I added some special movements and stuff, not pivoting my feet, working my slaps, and I do a lot of resistance training and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, sorry to bring it up again, but going back to that incident that you had, did you ever think that you might not be able to compete competitively in MMA or boxing or anything when that instance happened?
Yeah, it was. Well, I really didn't. It was all off guard. I'm always
Mhm.
healthy. I don't drink or really do anything like that. So it kind of caught us off guard. And when I found out I was missing the slap show because I wasn't getting cleared as quick as I needed to be, that was
Mhm.
heartbreaking. But then it opened my eyes to like, okay, well, it's not just about slap. It's about fighting. It's about everything. Like what's
Yeah.
going on.
So do you say that you kind of have a new lease on life? Like, are you looking at things differently, after that specific instance?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love to compete. I'm Christian. I believe in God, and I believe if it's my time to go, I'm gonna go, whether I'm walking down the road or fighting a fucking grizzly bear. you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they call you the mountain man for a reason. Obviously, hunting, fishing, dirt biking, doing all those outdoor activities. Um, Even Waylon Frost on After Slap, talked about you being the one that got him into the show. You kind of see yourself as a father figure to a lot of these other MMA fighters. Maybe because you've been around the game a little bit longer.
So yeah, I mean, I come from a small town. We trained out of a garage for the last 4 years. Aside from me driving 2 hours to go train at some bigger name gyms with some bigger name people, but I definitely paved the way and got a lot of good connections. I went and put on good fights for some huge promotions, and it opened the doors for these up and coming fighters and the younger guys that are training with me. It's nothing's out of your reach. You can do it. That opened their eyes to that.
Hmm. So, were you guys able to graduate out of a garage gym? Do you guys have a proper facility now with proper equipment?
Yeah, so we're actually just starting our new gym. My coach Michael Bonet, he's got a new spot, and we've been slowly moving all our stuff into that. We just had our first training session in there last night, and that'll be ready to rock soon.
Awesome, awesome. Well, do they have Instagram? Like, shout it out, whatever the name of the gym is.
Yeah, it's Vanquish MMA and Self Defense. You can find them on Instagram. I've got them tagged in some of my posts too, so check them out. You're gonna see good stuff from them. Real good self defense stuff too for men that don't necessarily want to fight, and a lot of women. So Coach Mike's got a bunch of good stuff on there for everybody.
Very cool. What community are you in?
Payson, Arizona.
Payson, Arizona. Okay, very cool. So you're making the trek. I'm sure, like you said, you're making the trek 2 hours to go train. I know you talked that you're going to California as well, coming up here real soon. Do you get used to the travel and the commute when you come from Payson? To do other opportunities around the United States.
Yeah, I love to travel. It was a lot easier before I had kids and stuff. Now, you get to miss them if they can't be with you. But I mean, I'm only young once, so I want to make a living
Hmm.
slapping, fighting, whatever. I want to do something with my hands besides heating and cooling or construction.
Yeah. So but besides that, but what does the future hold for you? Like, do you see yourself getting a fight here with Power Slap real soon? Have they talked to you about the March 11th event? Anything like that?
So I will be there in March, and then I can't say what I'm doing there, but you will see me there. You'll see a lot of me. And now that I'm cleared, I think I'll start pushing a lot more of my stuff. But I definitely will be fighting, and we're gonna see about it. But I think I'm gonna be the first fighter to fight in 3 different weight divisions, and I'm probably gonna go for those 3 titles too.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So you play. So you like. Are you going to start heavier and go down? Going to go down and go up? What's kind of your game plan? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they want to tackle three categories all at once.
Yeah, so my weight fluctuates real well for this sport specifically. I typically, like right now I'm walking around about 195. So I could hit 185 in a day. I could jump up to 205. I can go up to heavyweight too from there.
Crazy, crazy. How can you do such a weight cut in one day? Like just water or?
Yeah, I mean, water is the biggest thing. I stay hydrated. I drink at least minimum a gallon of water a day. So really all it takes is a little bit in the sauna, running, and just staying active all the time.
Very, very cool. So do you see yourself being a multi-sport practitioner going forward, or would you like to like actually hone in and make slap fighting your main thing going forward?
So I'm always gonna want to fight, but this
Mhm.
is the biggest opportunity I have in my life, to change mine and my family's life forever, potentially. I think this sport's gonna get really big, and I think it was a good sport I was really made for. So I'm gonna stick out here for as long as I can. I'm gonna make the biggest, best name that I can. And then you'll still see me if I get offered MMA or boxing fights. I'll always take those as long as they don't interfere with this.
I mean, there's kind of a long-standing thing going back to Slap Fight Championship and Ron or Wolverine, should I say, and about the beard absorbing slaps. Do you think there's anything to that, or do you think it's all made up?
I think it might absorb a little bit, but that little fraction isn't much. I think what a beard does most is, it doesn't show them exactly where your chin line is, your jawline.
Mm-hmm.
So it might
Mm-hmm.
throw them off, and they might not hit you on that button.
Yeah.
But
Um, do you think it could actually be more dangerous potentially if they can't line up properly? They might hit you a little bit deeper. Um, is there any thought to that if they can't line it up effectively, or do you think it's actually an advantage because they might miss more often than not off of the chin?
it could be. I don't. As long as you know, I really the only dangerous part about this sport in my mind is flinching and getting hit in the top of the head.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when the concussions and stuff might come into play. But I don't think if you line your hand up to slap me, you should feel it. And I think the only reason they're gonna miss is they took their eye off the mark or their adrenaline's going too high. They can't really focus.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I mean, what, for a lot of these slappers, it's been a new experience for them. They didn't have experience in the past slapping other humans. Obviously there's been some negative press going around about the sport, the amount of fouls, the amount of clubbing, pivoting, and stuff that's been happening. Do you think it's warranted and justified, or do you think it's being blown out of proportion?
I think the sports, they're just growing it, so everyone's kind of figuring it out. The refs they really got to focus in on what they're looking at. I think they might get a little sidetracked and want to watch the actual slap happen. So I think a lot more pivots and fouls are happening than should. But you can't be too mad at it this early in the game. You got to kind of let it go, and what's going to happen is going to happen, and eventually they'll get it dialed in.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree with you on that. I think you know, the unfortunate part right now, obviously, with the mainstream, getting adopted in here. In the first couple episodes, there were a ton of fouls, and there were some pretty egregious knockouts. And I mean, if you look at power slap right now, the knockout rate is much more greater than the entire sport of slap fighting across the board, or even boxing for that matter. I mean, I think this after the first three episodes, there was like an 80%, knockout rate. And with the winner of the coin toss, I believe winning 90% of the time. Where if you actually bring it back, the average in the sport is more closer to 40% knockout rate, right in line with boxing at 38%. And so I think you'll see that number come back to the average over time, as the guys, get more and more opportunities to hone their craft and their skill and definitely hit, the mark with much more efficiency. Do you think it's more important that you have a strong chin or have a deadly slap in slap fighting?
Well, I mean, if you don't have a strong chin, then you're going down. You can't showcase nothing. Like
Mm-hmm.
not to sound cocky or anything, but I lost both coin tosses, and I had to take those hits first. And even though Jesse's been hitting with his left hand for whatever the reason may be, his right hand's a lot more powerful. Once you see either mine and his fight come out, or you'll see him use his right hand, you'll
Mm-hmm.
see a lot more effective. But if I didn't have a chin, I would, I wouldn't have beat him. So you
Mm-hmm.
can have as long as you're precise with your slap, you don't have to have knockout power as long as you got a chin too, because you can just have a good clean fight and take those good hits and still potentially win. So the power isn't, in my opinion, too big of a thing. You got
Mm-hmm.
to have a chin and accuracy.
So I was just saying, in regards to the brotherhood of power slap competitors, do you stay in constant contact with everybody, or have you kind of gravitated towards some and kind of became foes with others?
I've got a few guys in there that I'm really close with, I'd say, and then I haven't met one bad dude out of the power slap bunch. Everyone's good, solid, straight up guys that I've met. But Ryan Phillips, John Davis, Jesse, AJ, Robert Trujillo, Wesley Drain. The first group we were there with are, I'd have to say, the most solid dudes you could meet.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of great guys. I've interviewed a ton of them. They definitely seem to be much more active on social. All those guys that you talked about. Ryan, the King of King Phillips, one of the more outspoken guys, but also seems to be one of the more genuine guys. What do you have to say about that dude?
That's a straight up dude. He's got a lot of good knowledge he can give you. He can hype you up. He could calm you down. He's always willing to help. And when it comes to crunch time, he's ready to go, whether it's his friend or not. And to be able to be a guy that can master all that, be that person for everybody. That's pretty phenomenal. So
Very cool.
I hope he gets a chance at that title soon. He deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's what's his saying? He's throwing up beef like they're Whoppers or something.
Yes, sir.
Which is awesome. If you can have one dream matchup coming back to Power Slap, who would it be?
I want to put on a show for the fans. So maybe after they see some of what I got, we can get some feedback and see who they want me to go against. Because, like I said, they're all my friends. But when we're at that table, it's time to see who's the best, and we'll be buddies after that.
Come on, Donovan, you got to call somebody out here.
I'd have to say Azael. I never met him in person. He seems like an all right dude, but I think he could be humbled up a little bit. There's a couple newer guys that I think need to be humbled up a little bit. They haven't had real good fights, and they're just too ahead of themselves for the wins that they did have, I think.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Can you say your social media handles so people that want to follow your journey back into Power Slap?
So it's just Donovan Cross. If you look up the Mountain Man, I think I'll pop up too. But just look up my first last name. You'll find me on all platforms.
Awesome, man. Absolute pleasure. I'm planning to be out there in Vegas, leading into the March 11th event. Would love to meet you in person. Really hope that this is the first interview of many that I do with you, and you have a very successful career in Power Slap.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Corey. We'll see you soon.